you said regenerative
medicine.
How does a young Joaquin even know about that?
That's a very cool question. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
I just knew that it sounded cool, basically. I knew that I wanted to do something related to medicine, but at the same time, I didn't want to have to sort of deal with the clinical world. As in, I was not sure that I wanted to have to deal with patients and telling people like sort of bad piece of news that might have happened to some family. So then I thought, how can I actually help there? And this is the way to go. Helping research, but so helping the medical world, but more or less in the background. That's it. The traditional way to do so is by using animals, because we have an estimation of how they can work in humans. But what we would like to do in order to reduce the use of animals, partly because of the ethics behind it, but also partly because many times we miss a lot of information from jumping from, let's say, mice to humans.
I just remembered off air we were talking about the retina, and as someone who's interested in fight sports and whatever, it's a common injury you hear about. But you said that most of the parts of the body actually refuses additional material when it's put inside, apart from the eye.
Indeed, that's one of the big issues that we have right now. Whenever you want to inject something into the human body, especially if it is a living thing, it's going to reject it, for sure.
To One Extraordinary People podcast, second day of the Pint of Science. Is that correct?
Third day. But yeah. Third day, yeah.
I'm here with Joaquin.
Yeah. Joaquin Montilla, that's the name.
Some Spanish name?
Spanish name, very Spanish name, actually. Indeed.
I think the reason I know the name Joaquin is because of the actor. Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix. He's done a great job for the people like me having this name for actually people to know how to pronounce it.
Yes. Yeah. We've picked a perfect place to film today. Okay, so basically, so Pint of Science, you yourself are one of the organizers for this very, very entertaining and interesting event. Can you tell me about your journey into science, Joaquin? What brought you to Utrecht, and in general, what do you do as a scientist?
So, to be fair, I've always been interested in science. I remember myself like watching animal documentaries when I was like 10 or so. I'm thinking, crap, that's very cool. I would like to study something related to biology. But then as the years went by, I started really focusing a little bit more, thinking medicine can also be cool. And then I found the sweet spot in biomedicine, and that's actually what I do. I came to the Netherlands to do a master's program in regenerative medicine, so biomedical sciences, but specialization in regenerative medicine in Maastricht. And now afterwards, thinking, how can I continue my scientific career? I thought, yeah, why not? Let's go for a PhD and just go all the way. And that's where I am. I just handed in my thesis and continuing the research career with a postdoc. That's where I am.
Yeah, so Joaquin, I think one of the things that definitely intrigues me and interests me about this whole situation is that how did you know that you wanted to do a PhD? And when you went from your master's program, also like you said, regenerative
medicine.
How does a young Joaquin even know about that?
That's a very cool question. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
I just knew that it sounded cool, basically. I knew that I wanted to do something related to medicine, but at the same time, I didn't want to have to sort of deal with the clinical world. As in, I was not sure that I wanted to have to deal with patients and telling people like sort of bad piece of news that might have happened to some family. So then I thought, how can I actually help there? And this is the way to go. Helping research, but so helping the medical world, but more or less in the background. That's it.
Oh, yeah? I think something that pops into mind is, I think off camera we were also talking about this, that part of this process is obviously to learn more about how to affect animals like that. And in the clinical world, I think that's like quite a done thing. I mean, is it, maybe, I don't mean to be crass, but I'm just trying to like, just be honest about it. I'm assuming that without animal testing so far, there's many medicines we wouldn't have worked. So I'm not justifying or I'm in any way happy about the suffering of animals, but at least it served some kind of purpose so far. Not that I'm saying we should continue.
It's definitely true. I mean, most probably without lab animals, we wouldn't be here at all, any of us. And it's a very fair question. Like even myself, many days. So I work in the field of stem cells, and stem cells are becoming massive in the medical world just because they are developing many cell-based therapies instead of chemical-based therapies. So we need to test these sort of therapies before they can be used in humans. And the traditional way to do so is by using animals, because we have an estimation of how they can work in humans. But what we would like to do in order to reduce the use of animals, partly because of the ethics behind it, but also partly because many times we miss a lot of information from jumping from, let's say, mice to humans. It's actually changed the whole paradigm. We don't want to know how a drug does in a living being, but just start asking more precise questions. What do we actually want to get from this study, from this animal study? How can we do it so that we can learn those same things, but without any those animals? So being more precise with the questions that we want to answer with those animal studies. Yeah.
So is there still a large degree of inaccuracy? Let's say that you have a negative or positive result based on animal testing. Even if we don't look specifically at the moral side of it, it's also perhaps dangerous to human beings because we just don't have correct information.
Most definitely. In the past, like 10 years, they've tried to develop cell therapies for humans. And I believe as of now, all of them have failed to really be safe to be used in humans. And that's because when developing a therapy, the biggest loss of information and the biggest loss of even money for companies is when trying to do that jump into the clinical world, because either those animal studies, they fail, or they are not really informative enough to actually jump into the clinical world. So there's a massive gap there where not only we are risking the safety of the therapies, but also even companies actually lose money because they invest a lot and then they don't manage to get what they would like.
I think you've mentioned stem cells many times so far, and during this Pint of Science event so far as well, it's definitely come up, the concept of organoids and this sort of thing. I think something that definitely I've heard a lot about is that this idea of stem cells is something that you can them inherently within human beings, and you can kind of utilize them to even grow, potential repair tissue for you think things that might get damaged in our bodies. What are some good examples that you think? What are some good applications? I know, for example, we spoke about retinal detachment on this sort of thing. So anything new?
So where the field is moving towards right now, it's mostly in fields such as diabetes or even cardiac disease. And that's because, well, where the field is trying to go is that we not only tackle the symptoms, which is what we are doing so far in medicine in many situations, but more to help our own body to regenerate itself, to really use stem cells that we have in our own body, and in case we don't, to provide those, so that we are able to, having a diseased tissue, make it become a healthy one. One of those tissues, for example, is really cardiac tissue, so the heart. Many people suffer, especially now in the later years, because of the way that we live, basically. More and more people suffer from cardiac disease. So that's one of the main places, especially in the Netherlands, where they are focusing on, indeed.
So would that mean, for example, I don't know, repatching or reworking the vessels or something like that?
Yeah, precisely. Even imagine you just had a massive surgery for in the liver, in the kidneys, and because of that, you're gonna lose a big part of the let's say the function that whole liver do. Let's say what they are trying to do is, okay, let's make a patch, or let's make tissues that would do the same function, and let's put them back into the human body so that they actually replace what was lost.
I just remembered off air we were talking about the retina, and as someone who's interested in fight sports and whatever, it's a common injury you hear about. But you said that most of the parts of the body actually refuses additional material when it's put inside, apart from the eye.
Indeed, that's one of the big issues that we have right now. Whenever you want to inject something into the human body, especially if it is a living thing, it's going to reject it, for sure. But then in 2009, there was a massive breakthrough in biomedical field, and that was that we now can generate stem cells from our own bodies. Let's say that I have a disorder, I have some sort of problem in the heart, in the lung. The medical field can now take cells from my own body, make them stem cells, and then inject them back into my own body. And since it is my own body and my own cells, that way we can skip through this rejection that my immune system by which my immune system would attack. Step.
Well, it's been super, super interesting talking to you. Thank you for your efforts with the Pint of Science leisure. And I hope that we get a chance to maybe visit you in the lab and learn more about what you do. Any final thoughts about how scientific communication can be done better?
Well, yes. I think that right now in the scientific world, we have very good scientists, very good scientific speakers, let's say, but hardly ever those two are really connected in the same person. Let's say either you are very good in science and you are a good researcher, or you are able to really make people connect with what you do. And I think that both parts should be able to improve. And the best researchers, many times they have to make sure that the main message is put out there. And for that, you just need to practice and just need to attend events like, for example, Pint of Science.
Thank you so much.